Time Warner Cable is pleased to be an underwriting sponsor for Carolina Week.
Coming up on the April 14th edition of Carolina Week.
We'll all be in a hurry to get out of town soon, but speeding could cost you big time.
An increase in tuition is one thing, but an increase in the price of pizza? It's un-American.
In sports, the track and field team is off and running, preparing for the ACC Outdoor Championships.
Weathercaster Laura Pagano will tell us if warmer temperatures will return this week.
All that and an event to remember. Carolina Week starts right now.
From the James F. Goodman Studio in the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, connecting campus and community, this is Carolina Week.
Hello and welcome to the Monday edition of Carolina Week. I'm Jonathan O.
And I'm Carly Swain. Thank you for joining us. As we near the end of the semester, many of us might be eager to head out of Chapel Hill, but reporter Bridger Floyd warns us not to push the pedal to the metal on the way out. Bridger?
Police officers cracked down on speed demons last week as a part of North Carolina's No Need to Speed campaign. Almost 1,500 drivers were issued citations for speeding violations in the Triangle area. Junior Melanie Fernandez was ticketed for going 20 miles per hour over the speed limit, but she believes that speed limits are important for pedestrian safety.
I think people should follow speed limits, especially like in Chapel Hill when so many people are running and walking and there's just so many people all over the streets on Franklin Street.
Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, Franklin Street, and Highway 54 are hotspots for speeders. The DPS is concentrating on these major roads, and students agree that they are tempted to speed in certain areas of Chapel Hill.
Everybody says the same thing, that Airport and Franklin.
I-40.
Franklin, I go way too fast on Franklin. I go way too fast on Country Club.
Some students argue that installing extra traffic lights and road humps will make them less likely to speed.
A stretch of road that goes 2 miles without a stoplight, no stop signs, is ridiculous to keep it at 35 miles an hour.
The DPS, however, is hesitant to install new stoplights. Instead, they're going to continue to rely on street-level enforcement of speed limits. But some students still aren't ready to slow down.
I understand them. It's not like I actually go 25 on any of the 25s.
The DPS hopes that the No Need to Speed campaign will encourage drivers to go the speed limit.
I try to keep that golden rule of thumb where you only go 10 over, like you won't get a ticket if you're going less than 10.
But contrary to popular belief, you can be ticketed no matter how fast you are going.
Police officers and the DPS are going to continue to ticket speeders, so drivers need to pay attention to that speedometer.
Bridger, are police officers ticketing any other traffic violations besides speeding?
Yes, they're also handing out citations for seatbelt violations, so remember to fasten your seatbelt when you're driving or riding in a car.
Bridger Floyd starting us off tonight. Thank you.
High gas prices are hard on college students who rely on their cars for transportation, and the price of fuel might be hurting students in other ways too. According to AAA, the nationwide average price of a gallon of unleaded gasoline is $3.35. This is 55 cents more than the average price just 1 year ago. Economists say the price of fuel is driving market-wide inflation. So not only will you have to pay more to fill up your tank, but also to fill up your stomach. The cost of food is going up because of higher delivery costs, and making plastic uses petroleum, which makes the cost of food wrappers higher too.
Last week we told you gas prices are also affecting, horror of horrors, the price of beer. Reporter Mackenzie Babb tells us transportation prices are also driving up the cost of the second of a college student's 2 basic food groups, pizza.
It started several months ago with the surge in cheese charges. Now the cost of meat is up and the price of wheat has tripled. These higher costs have cut into profits for pizzerias, prompting statewide pizza price increases.
And in Chapel Hill, pizza parlors like this one, thank you, are beginning to feel the rise.
Acting manager of Chapel Hill's Gumby's Pizza, Justin Walters, hopes to keep his customers calling.
The price of our bags of wheat have almost tripled in cost, so we did have to raise our prices up a little bit. And yeah, it has affected our business. We've had a lot of drop off, but we feel that in time our customers will come back.
Delivery driver Ross Trevor counts on customers' cash, but knows many compensate for higher pizza prices by lowering drivers' tips.
I've been making like $30 less a night. You work 3 nights a week. That's, gonna end up being close to $400 a month you're making less, simply because of the price increases.
However, according to UNC sophomore Rachel Howard, students won't let price increases keep them from ordering Gumby's.
They were rated by the students in the DTH as the best place to get pizza, so I think they're still going to have great business, even with the unfortunate price increases.
Gumby's, like many North Carolina pizza makers, has one wish: to escape from this financial fire without getting burned. In Chapel Hill, I'm Mackenzie Babb, Carolina Week.
Now, if we hear that the cost of ramen noodles is going up, I don't know what we're going to do.
Yeah, that would be a disaster for all of us. Well, the annual Crop Walk has been highlighting hunger in the world for 22 years. This year's walk began in the Carborough Commons. The Crop Walk raises money for hunger relief efforts around the world and locally in Chapel Hill and Carborough, with money going to the food programs at the Interfaith Council. The goal this year is to raise $53,000. UNC students and members of the community participated in the 4-mile-long walk. Crop coordinator and UNC alum Charles Wilson explains the reason behind the length of the route.
That's about the average distance someone in Africa or Asia has to walk to get food or water. So we walk because they walk.
Walkers enjoyed the sunny weather, music, and activities throughout the day. We'll know the total raised in about a week. Well, participating in a fundraiser isn't the only way to help a Chapel Hill neighbor.
That's right. Coming up, we'll introduce you to a group of people who've fled persecution and now call this area home.
Hear that? How could I not? They can't be serious. This is their 3rd party this week and I have a test tomorrow.
Yeah, and they blocked me in. Again! Let's party!
It's about time, you guys.
Anything left in here?
I bet they're gonna leave their garbage out again. They do this every time when they have friends over.
It's important to be considerate of others who live close to you. You wouldn't want neighbors like these. Make sure to control your garbage, obey Chapel Hill noise ordinances, park only in your driveway or other designated areas, obey all alcohol laws, and remember, we're all living in this community together, so be a good neighbor.
We often take it for granted that we live in a free country, but reporter Bethany Tuggle introduces us to a family that's very thankful for this freedom and relieved to no longer be living in fear.
Kablalpa has been living in Chapel Hill with her husband and 3 children since December. She's one of nearly 300 refugees from Burma living in this area. Life in Burma was extremely dangerous for families like Kabla's, and life in the refugee camp in Thailand wasn't much better.
When we lived in the camp, we had to stay in the camp, and we could not go outside the fence around the camp because it was illegal for us to do that.
Kabla is one of 7 children. Her parents and many of her siblings also live in the area. Her mother Muher agrees that life in the refugee camp was hard.
I was afraid the enemy would attack the camp. I was worried we would be killed by the enemies. It was like a prison, and I wasn't happy.
Many refugees lived in huts like these and used pictures and stories to give others a small taste of the trials they faced. The military offensive against the people of Burma began in 1995, and support groups say what they call the oppression led by this illegal military dictatorship continues in Burma today. But there's hope for the 150,000 refugees still in Burma who live in fear of torture and death.
In America, we live in freedom. We no longer have to worry about our enemy destroying us, and our children can go to school and have a good education.
Many of the families in this area have sponsors who help them as they start their new lives. But it's difficult for them to find jobs because their education is limited and their job skills don't fit our economy.
In the camp, I worked by weaving Karen clothes every day, and when I had time, I went to the Bible class in the camp.
Their Bible classes are a little different now, but Kabla and Muher still join many of their friends and family members to worship, read scriptures, and hear the Word of God. They're able to share this experience with the children, too, giving them something to smile about and a hope for their future. In Chapel Hill, I'm Bethany Tuggle, Carolina Week.
A professor at UNC Greensboro says the Burmese military frequently burns villages, rapes young girls, and forces minorities to work without pay.
Barack Obama is leading Hillary Clinton, at least in North Carolina. The recent Rasmussen Reports telephone survey shows Obama with 56% of the Democratic vote, while Clinton holds on to 33%. Obama is up 7 points from a month ago. The report also asked participants which issues played a role in their decision-making. In North Carolina, 52% say the economy is the main issue, while 21% say it's the war in Iraq. Nationally, the report shows Obama leading Clinton 48% to 44%. And if you forgot to register to vote on Friday, don't worry. North Carolina has a new one-stop voting law. The new law allows eligible residents to register between April 17th and May 3rd. Simply bring proof of residency to the Orange County Public Library and fill out a voter registration application. To be eligible to vote in North Carolina, you must be a U.S. citizen, a resident of North Carolina for at least 30 days before the next election, and at least 18 years old by the next general election. More than 5.7 million people in North Carolina have registered to vote. The Daily Tar Heel has a new chief who's already hard at work. Junior Allison Nichols becomes the 142nd DTH editor-in-chief. She served as the managing editor for the 2007-2008 school year and will start her term as editor-in-chief in the fall. Nichols is dedicated to recruiting and training and hopes to bring new reporters to the staff. Her platform focused on strengthening online coverage and expanding multimedia as she plans to open a new online editor position. After going through the interview process, Nichols was speechless after being selected.
I can't even describe it, like kind of numb, I guess. And it didn't really sink in until a couple days later. And now I'm incredibly excited. We have a fantastic group of people who are ready to move up into leadership roles, and I can't wait to see what they're going to do.
The DTH is considered one of the nation's best student newspapers, so Nichols has a lot to live up to.
Scientists have recently found traces of 6 common prescription medications in the water in the Washington, D.C. area, which has many people questioning the safety of the water here. Owasso has won numerous awards for the purity of our drinking water, but most treatment systems can't filter the drugs that turned up in D.C. Scientists are unsure of the effects of long-term exposure to such drugs. Workers found caffeine, anti-inflammatory drugs, 2 kinds of antibiotics in the Washington aqueduct. The pharmacist at Sutton's drugstore, John Woodard Jr., says there's probably nothing to worry about.
The water itself, it would have to be in large quantities for it to really pollute it to the extent that I think the public would have to really be concerned about.
Woodard adds there's no good way to dispose of medication. Crops are looking a bit better these days because of recent rains. Saturday made us bring out the umbrellas for a wet afternoon. Gusty winds blew through the Chapel Hill area without causing any damage. Saturday's rainfall totaled about 0.04 inches or 1 millimeter. And even though these early May flowers look refreshed from Saturday's rain, North Carolina state climatologist says all the recent rains haven't been enough to end the drought.
And even though we only saw rain in Chapel Hill, a lot of the surrounding areas saw hail and even a tornado.
That's true. Thankfully, there wasn't widespread damage from the weekend storms, but the weather seems to be unpredictable. Laura, what's coming up next?
Well, Saturday was rainy, Sunday was sunny, so today we're seeing a bit of both. My forecast for the next week is next.
Let's go, man.
Hello, ladies.
Can you imagine your life without animals? Here at the Durham Animal Shelter, we can't. So come see us. Your new best friend is already expecting you.
Let's give it a shot. You can do it this time. I gotta get a real dog.
There is really only one boy, one girl, one tree, one forest, one ocean, one mountain, one sky, and one simple way to care for it all. Please visit earthshare.org and learn how the world's leading environmental groups are working together under one name, Earthshare. One environment, one simple way to care for it.
Hi, and welcome back to Carolina Week. I'm weather forecaster Laura Pagano. Well, I'm sure many of you got outside yesterday. It was absolutely gorgeous. But today is a different story. We're seeing showers across the region, but showers will be ending, and that's good news. And also, the heat will be on for much of this week. We will be seeing temperatures maybe even reaching 80 degrees by Friday. But when we have a lot of precipitation, that means we're going to have a lot of things blooming. Pollen is going to be in the air, and I'll give you a full pollen report. But let's take a look at what's happening around the U.S. And most of the U.S. is pretty dry. They're seeing a lot of sunny conditions, while in our area we're going to be seeing some pop-up showers, maybe some thunderstorms for the eastern coast, but this should be ending in the next couple of hours. And we do have a low pressure system in the northwest, but nothing for us to be too concerned about. Precipitation will be ending soon. So let's focus in on where the precipitation lies currently. And we're seeing areas such as Greensboro, Winston-Salem, and even over towards Raleigh, seeing a couple of showers. And this will be making its way towards the east. There is a low pressure system off our coast that is bringing in the moisture and also the northeasterly flow, which is making things kind of cool today, so it doesn't really feel like spring. And when we have precipitation falling into dry air, we're seeing even colder temperatures. So we'll be seeing things change, though, in the next couple of days. So let's see what we have for the surface map. And we have high pressure dominating across the midsection of the country. We have that rain across the southeast, but there's that low pressure system off the coast, and that will be shifting towards the east, and a low pressure system off towards the west as well, and that will be bringing in some moisture to the midsection of the country by the end of the week. And so if we look at Tuesday, we're seeing it slide towards the Texas region and with a high pressure system dominating, and by Wednesday the high is over us and the precipitation is out towards the east. So really much of the day for your Tuesday and Wednesday is going to be very sunny. We're going to have that southwesterly flow, and with that we're going to be seeing a lot of sunny conditions, not a lot of moisture. And so if anybody wants to go outside, now's the time to do it. Towards the west it is fairly dry. We have a low pressure system to worry about, but that is the concern for the weekend. But how about the pollen report? Well, as we see, we have some pollen from the trees, but the grass and weeds is fairly low currently. But this will be changing as we have seen a lot of precipitation, and this means that things are going to grow, and they're going to grow fast. So we're going to have a lot of pollen from grass and weed, and that will be on the increase for allergy sufferers. Don't worry, the next couple of weeks might be a bit rough. But for the next 4 days, we're going to be seeing very nice conditions with temperatures. Wow, look at that. We're going from 60 all the way to 80 degrees. And we are going to be seeing that the evening is going to be a bit chilly, so you might want to take a jacket, but no precipitation in the forecast, so I can't complain at all. It's absolutely beautiful this week.
Well, Laura, you know, it sounds like you're mentioning those pollen sufferers might need to worry if they're having a problem with tree pollen. That seems to be the issue right now.
Yes, that's the issue. But like I said, things will be, you know, worsening a little bit more for, you know, grass and weeds. So pollen will be up in the next couple of weeks.
It looks like they will be sniffling for the next couple of weeks, as you said.
Unfortunately.
Thank you so much, Laura.
Well, Kappa Kappa Gamma's annual Tar Heel Trot is a way for students to enjoy a little sunshine and reach beyond themselves. Hundreds of runners showed up Saturday to race to help find a cure for breast cancer. The 5K started at the Old Well and took the runners on a tour of Chapel Hill, ending with a balloon arch and a post-run party. Tar Heel Trot benefits Friends for an earlier breast cancer test, which aims to find a new method to detect breast cancer before it develops. This year, Tar Heel Trot raised more than $7,000, topping last year's total. And now we're joined by sportscaster Marissa May.
And Marissa, it seems like that the athletes aren't the only ones that are starting to get exercise.
Right, and not only was the trot a different way to showcase some athletic ability, but coming up in sports, we'll give you a look at a different kind of golf that's flying around campus.
So I was just thinking, just trim the ends just a little
I got
bit.
it from here, Monsieur Salon type guy.
Hey, today, everybody, is Pixie Cut Day. We're gonna take it real short, and then we're gonna dye it. Jet black, the look that says, I scribble dark lyrics in my journal.
No, Pixie Cut.
It just says, I've got issues.
I don't have issues.
Well, you will after this haircut. Pixie Cut it is.
I
Yes.
don't want a pixie cut.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
It's springtime in the forest of the black-tailed deer. The young male is feeling playful. It's time for tag. The female flicks her ears. Her way of saying, catch me if you can.
UNC's baseball team headed south to Clemson and came back with a clean sweep. On Friday, the Heels won 8-2. Saturday, Clemson kept the game a little closer, falling 4-3 to Carolina. But on Sunday, UNC tackled the Tigers 8-4. It was the first ever series sweep at Kingsmore Stadium for the Heels. And apparently the theme for the weekend on the Diamond was sweep. The softball team traveled to UVA and clobbered the Cavaliers. Saturday's first game brought an 11-2 5-inning victory. The Heels kept the ball rolling as they took the second game 6-1. Sunday capped off the ACC series as sophomore pitcher Danny Spalding had 14 strikeouts in the 7-1 win. With the sweep, the Heels now sit at 40-8-1 overall. The men's tennis team faced Georgia Tech Friday afternoon, and the Heels came out swinging. With wins at number 1 and number 2 doubles, Carolina had a quick 1-0 lead. Singles was a little more nerve-wracking. 5 of the 6 men dropped the first set of their matches, but only 1 felt the sting of the Yellow Jackets. The other 4 were able to rally back and come out with 3-set wins. After a long struggle, Carolina beat Georgia Tech 6-1. And for Senior Day, the team was matched up against the Tigers of Clemson University yesterday. Athletics Director Dick Bedour was on hand to congratulate the squad's 8 senior members after head coach Sam Paul talked about their achievements. The Heels started off the day by winning 2 out of 3 doubles matches and later won all 6 singles matches to complete the 7-0 shutout of the Tigers. Singles victories from senior Will Plyler and Benjamin Carlotti appropriately showcased the impact the senior class has had on the team.
We've got a great group of guys here, and ultimately, hopefully the way we've sort of tried to develop leadership amongst the younger guys on the team, next year, they'll step up and they'll have a great opportunity to continue to develop the program. And
the women's lacrosse team will need to bounce back from a loss heading into the final week of the regular season. On Saturday, the Heels hosted Maryland on senior night. The Terps jumped to a quick 2-0 lead, which forced the Heels to play from behind the rest of the game. UNC had trouble penetrating the Maryland defense. First, freshman Corey Donahoe gets forced to the ground. And later, Maryland's keeper comes up with a save here and a great stuff on Kristen Taylor. But the Heels got back up and kept digging. Watch junior Chelsea Parks communicating and directing traffic behind the net. Moments later, she posts up and fires one home for the goal. UNC kept up the pressure, but couldn't complete the comeback. Carolina loses to Maryland 8-10. The Tar Heel track and field team held the Troy Waldrop Invitational Saturday. After honoring the senior members of the track team in a 3-hour rain delay, Carolina was back in action. With more than 20 schools participating, the Heels had the competition they needed to qualify for the upcoming regionals. In fact, 17 Tar Heels hit qualifying marks. Carolina placed first in 15 of 40 events, taking a 1-2 finish in the women's 200-meter dash, with Tyra Johnson and Christine Johnson breaking 25 seconds. In golf, the Tar Heels let both Duke and NC State get the better of them this weekend at the River Landing Intercollegiate Tournament. The Devils won the event, State was second, and the Heels were 6th in the 15-team field. Well, if you can't stroke it like Tiger, try a version of golf where polos are prohibited and beer is a must.
Nestled back deep in the forest,
Ooh, good shot.
lies the Chapel Hill Frisbee Golf Course, a hidden gem to many. As Kevin Miller says, both old and young come here to play the sport they love.
It's great exercise. You don't really have to be good at the game to enjoy it. It's just fun to walk around with your friends, hang out, drink a couple beers in the beautiful weather. Golf clap.
Weather and serene beauty are especially nice when your round just isn't up to par. Frisbee golf guru Daniel Collins offers some helpful tips to get into the game.
And it's all in the snap. You get the snap, and that's what gets the speed going. And I mean, I've thrown, where I even twisted all the way around.
And you will definitely need that extra snap if you hope to make it through the course's many challenging hazards. Yet Collins and Miller both agree that's the fun part.
And the best part about Frisbee golf is how inexpensive it is. Buy one of these discs new costs about $10. Buy it used costs about $2. And to play out here at the rec center, well, it's free. Come back, come back.
Although it doesn't cost anything to play the Chapel Hill course, Miller says there are a couple drawbacks he wouldn't mind changing.
The chain slammer. I don't need all these hippies and college kids coming out here, smoking their reefer, dogs pooping on my bees. It's not right.
So if you can stand Sasquatch and company, grab some discs, maybe a frosty brew, and head to the course. With its pristine beauty and rolling terrain, you won't regret it. In Chapel Hill, I'm Andrew Wooden, Carolina Week.
Come on, come back.
So not only can you go try out a new sport and have a great time, but the the course actually wraps around the softball field, so you can go ahead and take a break and watch some softball games as well.
Well, it sounds like a lot of fun, and I enjoy playing ultimate frisbee, but it's just a totally different aspect because it's not about going to the end zone. Now it's about you and that little goalpost where you got to get it into that little thing.
And tucked in those trees, I don't know how they get it inside of it.
Oh, dear goodness.
Thank you, Marissa. Well, on Sunday, Carolina students gathered to honor one of our own.
Coming up, we'll show you how students celebrated the life and work of Eve Carson.
Thousands of kids in this country have everything it takes to go to college, except the money. The United Negro College Fund. A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
If you have a story idea, contact Carolina Week at 843-8292. You can also visit us online at carolinaweek.org. If you have questions about this program, write Carolina Week at Campus Box 3365, UNCCH, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, 27599.
We continue to remember someone who was such an inspiration to the Carolina community. Saturday's Memorial Benefit Concert for Eve Carson was rained out, but that didn't keep students from coming out to show their support on Sunday.
It's been more than a month since student body president Eve Carson's murder, and students are far away from letting go of her memory. The fraternity Tau Kappa Epsilon held a memorial benefit concert in honor of Eve, raising money for Carson's Memorial Fund. 5 bands featuring UNC students performed, and organizers sold T-shirts, wristbands, and other memorabilia bearing Carson's name.
I know one girl put in $100 herself, so that's pretty good for one donation.
Students also enjoyed free food donated by area restaurants. Senior advisor to the student body president, Christy Cunningham, says this won't be students' last chance to remember Eve.
So we've talked a lot about different ideas, and I don't want to reveal any of those yet, but you can look forward to some pretty big initiatives.
With the help of student government, the fraternity planned an event that would have made Eve proud. Originally, Eve planned a concert to have fun and relax before closing out the semester. The concert brought a community together to laugh and have a good time, the essence of how Eve lived. In Chapel Hill, I'm Monica Gibbs, Carolina Week.
Officials haven't finished counting up all the proceeds that came from the concert.
On Wednesday, we're wrapping up our special profile on the play Dead Man Walking, a production that revolves around capital punishment.
And we'll take a look at how the show was received by the Chapel Hill community. Join us for the next edition of Carolina Week for that story.
Thank you so much for watching. Good night.